What's up, guys? My name is Marcus Huskins, and thank you for joining me. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please go ahead, do me a favor, and hit that subscribe button, and I appreciate your support. In last week's two-part video series, we talked about everything you need to know with the Soundset Builder, except for I forgot one thing, and it's actually something that I really wanted to include, but it slipped my mind. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up from where we left off in the last two videos from last week. Now, this is actually really good, because this brings up a really key important point. Let's say that you've built a sound set and it was the first version that you did and you got it going and it works properly. All your presets and everything and all your content is linked properly. You don't have any errors of missing samples. But let's say that you wanted to change something. Maybe you wanted to add something or remove something. Maybe you wanted to revise or update a preset or add new ones, anything like that. So let's take a look at how we would do that. So where we're sitting here is exactly where we were last week. If we come into our tabs over here, keep in mind we have a shortcut tab. I'm going to go back to my sound sets and let's find the sound set. It is example sound set. This is the content that we've dragged in, and this sound set is currently installed on my system. I can right click and I can show in Finder, and you can see here, example sound set, it's installed on my system. Let's say that we wanted to make a change, and I'm going to talk about how to use tags for all of your presets and your content in this video. So first things first, what we actually have to do is we have to delete this sound set or uninstall it. Now there's two ways we can do it. We can right click and we can choose the uninstall option, or manually you could go into the Finder when Studio One is not running and basically find the sound set and throw it in the garbage. But before we do that, if you have a song that's using any of the contents of the sound set, you essentially have to close that song and open up a new blank song. Or I'm going to use versions in this case. I've made a blank version of this same song, so it's going to just close and reopen. Okay, so now what we can do is we can right click and we can uninstall. It's telling us, do you want to permanently delete it from disk? Yes. Now that has basically put this sound set in my trash can. Now the next step, I'm going to choose the home icon. I'm going to re-index my presets because those presets are no longer there. So I'm going to do that. And then essentially what I'm going to do is restart Studio One. So I will catch up with you in a moment. Okay, so I have restarted Studio One and I opened up the same song, and as you can see, it's giving us this location. Now, I'm using a different song. I created a blank song with a different version. But technically speaking, in my pool, well, we can't see the message right now, but in my pool, these files are still being referenced. They were being referenced as being in the sound set, so we're getting this message. Let's just close this for now. This is fine. You can see here that these files have not been found because they're not installed on my system anymore. So let's go back to our Files tab, and let's go back to the tab we had created for our example sound set. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to add tags. So our first step is I'm going to right click and we want to mount the folder as a sound set again. Bang. So now this is being seen as an installed sound set again. So now the idea is if we go into, where would be a good tab? Let's go into loops. If we choose the search option and if we choose this option, we have the ability to start adding tags. Now these are sorted up here. We can sort by style, instrument, and character. But if I wanted to filter my results in terms of where I'm searching, I could say, for example, all right, I want to find everything to do with trap. So anything that has a tag that says trap, and maybe I want to find anything that is a loop. So let's look for loop. So this would now be any file on my system that is tagged with the tags trap and loop. So tags are very useful and they can be used in a couple of different sections of the browser. They can be used for the loop section. In addition, they can also be used for when you're searching through instruments. So for example, if I wanted to find any presets or anything to do with instruments that had to do with pop, if I entered this tag, now anything that's tagged with pop, as you can see down here, all of these tags, they are going to display in my actual browser, in my search results. Now, the sound sets, they have the ability, let's go back to our sound sets tab. If we open any one of these here, let's open up this one over here. If I go into these music loops, you'll see that these music loops have a bunch of different tags as well. Or if I go into the impact presets, you'll see the tags down here. I'm going to use my arrow key to go through them. You'll start seeing that the tags are going to change based on what this preset is. So it is a really good idea to actually tag your sound set in terms of the content that you include. How do we do that? Okay, well, it's actually really simple. First of all, I'm going to expand all of the folders so that we have all of the contents visible. Now I'm going to select any file, not a folder, but an actual file. It could be an audio loop, music loop, it could be a one-shot, a preset, a sound X, anything like that. The minute we do that, you'll notice we have this option over here, this tags appears. When we click this, this opens and it stays available as a floating window. Now this is pretty simple. This is bidirectional drag and drop. So for example, I could drag a tag from here over to here, or if I wanted to tag everything in a folder, I could tag it to the whole folder, or I could tag it to multiple folders. So for example, we could command click all of these over here, and I could say I want these are all pop, and that will tag every single one of these files. Now in the same way that we do that, we can also multi-select the files from here and drag them to the tags. So one-shots, this is something, these are one-shots over here. So I could either, actually let's just do 2 and 2. I could drag these 2 files to the, where is it here? One-shot, or I could select both of these and I could drag the one-shot tag to these files. So it's basically whatever you want to do. I usually don't tag my sound X because I don't want the sound X to appear in anything, but you just want to find some relevant tags. So in this case, we said pop. Well, these ones are also loops. So maybe I want to say, okay, well, this one and this one, these are all loops. So let's drag the loop tag over to these ones. And these are one-shots and they're all drums. So maybe I could take these, and these are, if I'm not mistaken, these are dry as well. So we could say, all right, well, let's tag these all with dry. And I could also say these are all drums. So really, you want to try to get a tag from a style, an instrument, and a character. And then anytime you're doing construction kits where you have a set of stems that compile to equal a finished production, you could tag the general construction kit tag as well. And then if you make any mistakes, you can clear the tags. So now that this is done and we've tagged our content, we can look now, if we select any one of these files, the tags appear down here. So this is where the tags are. And now this one over here, this has 4 tags. All of these have 4 tags. I can use my arrows. And this preset over here is just pop, and this one is my impact preset. Let's bring open the tags again. Okay, so this is impact, so maybe we'll drag drums to this one. And this one, we could actually search for pad. Let me try to find it here really quickly.
5 minutes later.
Okay, so here is pads. And also I might want to say that this is wet as well. So we've added some tags. Now what do? Well, we do the exact same thing we did the last time. When we're happy with this sound set, I'm going to right click and I'm going to unmount this sound set folder. And now one thing I like to do right before I do everything is I will refresh this folder and I'll go back to my home tab and I'll reindex the presets just to be on the safe side. Now, once I've done that, all I need to do is now pack sound set from folder. This is all good. This is still okay. So we will open this up, or rather we will wait for this to pack. Now, as soon as this is packed, I'm going to Command C, and then in my sound sets in Studio One, I'm going to cut and paste this in. And then in this case, I am going to restart Studio One again. So just give me 1 second and I'll catch up with you in a moment. Okay, so I've just restarted Studio One. One thing that I like to do when I'm done building something, I will click Show in Finder. And as you see over here, we have this example sound set. This was archived. When I'm done and I don't want anything to conflict, if I'm done with this, then I can just right click and I can compress this. So this we'll just compress this. And this is basically just me backing up this sound set, or rather the folder contents of this sound set. This one, I can just throw this in the trash. I don't need that anymore. And now I'm going to, let's re-index our presets really quickly. We need to re-index the presets so that Studio One is going to find any of the presets that we added. And now I'm going to go back into my sound sets. And where are we here? Example sound sets. So now check this out. If we open up our loops, you'll see that this is tagged with pop and loop. If we open up this one, pop and loop, our music loops, we have this one over here, pop and loop. This is pop and loop. The one shots, they're tagged as drums, pop, dry, one shot, all of them. And if we go into our presets, insert your name here, pads, pop, and wet. And this one is drums and pop. And the SoundX file we did not tag. So just to be sure that everything is functioning as it should, let me just open this up and let's drag an instance of impact over. And we have insert your name here, my impact preset that loads as we would expect. So that is adding tags when you're working with the Sound Set Builder. A really great way to kind of make your presets and your content more usable, because when we are using the browser in Studio One and you're on one of the tabs that supports tags in the search function, then you can filter your presets or have them show up based on the filters that people may enter. And that's available, for example, in instruments, and it's also available in loop as well if you enable the tags. Anyways, that's all the time I have available for today. I hope that you enjoyed this content. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. I will do my absolute best to get back to you. And as always, we will catch you in the next video. Cheers.